Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Christina, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit about our favorite books. I get questions about books all the time. It's one of the most common questions that I get, probably because I share about books from time to time, both here and on Instagram, but also because I've also shared more than once that I am very picky with books, even for my older kids. So if you saw my last video, I did kind of like a homeschool / Christmas unboxing, and I gave you a sneak peek of the newest book series that we've brought into our home. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about that today as I talk to you about our favorite books. So it's really hard when I get like a DM on Instagram or even a comment on a YouTube video asking like, what are your favorite books? Or how do you choose books and know that they're right for your kids, and all of those things. And sometimes it's really hard to answer in that way because we read tons of books. We read lots of books together. We read lots of books independently in our home. And so it's kind of hard to answer. I can tell you, and this is often what I tell people, is although we don't only read books, of course, from the good and the beautiful, if I had to choose, like easy, not a lot of time to talk to a mom about this, if I had to choose one place to get books for my kids, it would be from the Good and the Beautiful library. And the main reason for this is because they are also so particular about the content that is in their books, to be sure that they have high moral values, that they are God honoring, that they honor families, and also the family structure. And so that is really something that I have seen all throughout the levels in the good and the beautiful. And so that's what I want to talk about a little bit today before I show you the series. In case you missed my last video, is that I have kids ranging from ages 3 through 16, and I've used books from the good and the beautiful for all of my kids, and I've seen pretty much every level of books at this point. And so I wanted to share with you that as our kids get into the teen years, it can be a little bit harder to not only find books that we feel comfortable with them reading and that really align with our family's faith and values, but also it becomes harder to screen them, right? Like to flip through a picture book or something like that to make sure that it's a right fit for our family is a lot less time consuming than reading through every single chapter book that our children are going to read, especially our teens, as the books get longer and all of those things. And so with purchasing from the good and the beautiful, I don't have to do that. So there are very few companies and series where I feel like I don't need to screen the content. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't still be wise and screen your child's content. That's up to you as the parent to decide and to discern. However, I do know that the good and the beautiful prioritizes this. I remember hearing Jenny's video all about talking about how she saw such negative differences in her daughter, who was a voracious reader. So she just felt like, well, she's reading, that's a wonderful thing, but felt to pick up a book that her daughter had been reading and read through it a little bit, and saw that her daughter was actually mimicking the behaviors that were being presented in this book that were not God honoring, that weren't valuing family and all of those things. And so she set out on a mission to screen every book, and every book that is written through the good and the beautiful, through publishing, aligns with Christian values and upholding high moral standards and valuing family and the family structure. And so for a mom that might be in that position saying, I have so many things going on, I have X amount of kids, my kids are older and their books are longer, and there's just no way for me to read through all of those books, I understand. And that's why I use the good and the beautiful so much, because I feel the same way. I don't have time to pre-read every single book that my 12 and 16-year-old are going to read, because they're obviously reading chapter books. I have a couple others that I'll share with you today so that you get some other ideas other than just the good and the beautiful. But like I said, truly, if I had to send a mom to one place, if I didn't have time to explain all of this, I would say just go to The Good and the Beautiful. If you go on their website, it is so easy to search for what you're looking for. So you can search by grade level, you can search books that are included as part of their language arts curriculums, and you can like search books, only books that are not included in their language arts programs. And it's just so easy to navigate, super helpful. Their books are super affordable, and that's another thing that I really appreciate. So for example, my 16-year-old, I only did, and we're actually still doing level 1, high school level 1 language arts from The Good and the Beautiful. And so he's loved all of the books that he's read so far. And we also read other books from The Good and the Beautiful library. Like I've mentioned it a couple times, the most recent book he finished from there outside of the curriculum was Sagebrush Surgeon, and he really enjoyed that book a lot. Because something that I did, even though I wasn't going to do levels 2 and 3 of language arts unless we change our mind, because I always keep that as a disclaimer, like we could change our minds. I went ahead and I ordered the books from high school level 2 because they looked like really good books. And I figured I want him to at least read those books, but I don't feel like he needs to continue on at this point with grammar and some of the other things that are focused on. And so I just got him the books. And so he has those books to choose from, and I feel good about it, and I don't have to worry about what books he's reading. He's also in the middle, towards the middle to the end of another series that if you haven't heard me talk about it, I will share that towards the end of this video as well. Same thing for my 12-year-old. He reads the books that go along with the language arts from The Good and the Beautiful, and he really enjoys them. And then I get him some additional ones as well. For my 8-year-old, my 3rd grader, she is the one I'm most excited for right now because the brand new book series, so not just a book, a brand new book series just released yesterday from The Good and the Beautiful, and it is for a level 3 reader. Now, this doesn't mean that if your child's not a level 3 reader, they can't read these books or that you can't use them as read alouds or something like that, but they're actually intended for independent reading, which is so exciting to me because my 3rd grader has really come into this place where she loves reading. So she never like hated reading, but she wasn't just motivated to read books on her own. I would have to like encourage her to do it, which is not a bad thing. But now she really enjoys reading and she really enjoys writing. So some of the books that we've read in the past are from the Gold Tales and Silver Tales series from The Good and the Beautiful. Like this one was a 1B, so a level 1, and this one was a level 2. And there were a few more that she read and loved. These are beautiful hardcover books. They are faith-filled stories that honor God and honor people and honor family, and just really feel good about my 8-year-old forming and developing how she looks at what it means to be a girl, and that she's reading about girls that have a good attitude and make good choices and may struggle with making the right decision, but make the right decision in the end. So really, really love these books. The problem that we had though is that we read all of them and then there really wasn't anything left at or around her level from The Good and the Beautiful for her to read. And so we branched out a little bit and she read The Bears on Hemlock Mountain, which she really loved. And she is just finishing up The Courage of Sarah Noble, which she really loved. And I was kind of like, man, what is she going to read next? Because I really didn't have a plan and I knew I would need to do some research. And then The Good and the Beautiful announced their brand new series that would be releasing, and that is what I want to share with you. So I did give a sneak peek in my last video, but this series is called Badger Hills Farm. And so the very first book in the series is called The Secret Door. And it says, Timothy and Zoe's family has just inherited a unique 177-acre farm. Shortly after moving, they learn that a secret door is somewhere in their home, but they can't find it anywhere. As Christmas approaches, joy is in the air and adventure is around every turn. Timothy and Zoe start exploring the land, face a surprising encounter with a wild creature, and find themselves with lanterns in the forest at night. But through it all, they don't forget about their quest to find the secret door. This first book in the Badger Hills Farm series is packed with feel-good messages about family and faith that encourage pure minds and strong hearts with an exciting, action-packed storyline. I'm super excited about this. I'll just give you a little bit of a look at the print and that there are illustrations in here. I like that this has excitement and action and adventure, but it is intentionally good messages about family and faith that encourage pure minds and strong hearts. So I am so excited about this series, and I'm excited that there are 6 of them, which means she's going to be covered for quite a while, and she'll be able to get to know the characters, and they're at her level and all of that good stuff. So these are a 3B. See if you can see that. So if you put these on a bookshelf, all of your books from The Good and the Beautiful tell you what level they are right there, which helps you to kind of like remember and organize and select books and all of those things. So that is book 1. Book 2 is The Hidden Room. Book 3 is Message on the Stamps. Book 4 is Oak Tree Mystery. Book 5 is Clue in the Chimney. And book 6 is The Hills of Herzl. So I wanted to share these with you because I'm super excited, and they are now available for purchase. So I have the link down in the description box below where you can check these out, or any other books at any of the other levels that are just amazing and beautiful. Even if you don't use the Good and the Beautiful curriculum, I would strongly encourage you to check out their books. Even books that would usually go along with one of their language arts curriculum. So say you don't use curriculum for language arts, or you use a different language arts curriculum that you really love, you can still search within that grade level and find books that your child might really enjoy reading. And so I want to encourage you to do that. I also really love that they have books that they release that you can use and read as a supplement to some of their history and science units. So these can typically be used as a supplement for like your older elementary and middle school kids to dig deeper and learn more about that topic. So a kind of like an extension for middle school, or you can use it as a read aloud to have a little bit more supplementation of that topic for all of your kids. So those are also books that, like, say there's a book that goes along with health and the human body, for example. But again, you're not using that curriculum from The Good and the Beautiful, but you are looking for books to supplement that topic that you'll be studying. Grab those books that were created to go along with those units. They can be used universally on those topics. There'll be biographies or different books that just give more knowledge and information and exposure to that particular topic. So that's another great way to utilize the Good and the Beautiful library. Okay, I want to talk to you about a couple more series that my kids really love, especially for the older kids, because I feel like picture books are so much easier to come by, like wholesome, appropriate picture books, although these days you really do have to watch out for those as well. The main series that my 16-year-old is really loving is the Little Britches series. And this is, I don't know, the 4th or the 5th book. It just happened to be here on my windowsill, The Fields of Home. And this is autobiography of Ralph Moody, following him from childhood and his journey out west with his family to adulthood and all of the different things that he experiences. So this is one that I'd highly recommend for like upper elementary boys and maybe girls too, all the way through high school. Like I said, my 16-year-old is super into this series. Another series that we enjoy for older kids, so this can be graphic for younger kids. I do not read this with my 3, 5, or 8-year-old. These are recommended for 10 and up. And again, if you have a sensitive child, I would just be careful because it is a little bit graphic. They don't really spare a lot of the details of what some of these missionaries experience and see in some of these other countries that they're serving in. And so this is the Christian Heroes Then and Now series. These are missionary stories. My older boys love them. I really enjoy reading them with them. You can do these like we do either as read alouds or independent reads, and we kind of alternate. One will read together, the next one they'll read independently. One more series that I want to share with you that I haven't talked about in a really long time because we've kind of taken a break from reading them just because we have so many books all the time that we're trying to read. That is the Lightkeeper series, and there are tons of these. This specific one that I have in front of me is 10 Girls Who Didn't Give In, and they are short little biographies of a bunch of different women and how they didn't compromise their faith, or how they made a difference for their faith, or how they affected change. And they are, again, encouraging, beautiful stories that align with the Christian faith and our values and all of those things. So this is another one that you could use as a read aloud or an independent read. And so these are another favorite in our home. Another place that I like to get books is from Good and True Media. They are another really great place to find books. I don't think they have a couple of chapter books, but think like lower level chapter books. So not like middle school and high school, more like elementary level chapter books. But they have tons of picture books, and they also uphold high moral values and standards and are very specific about what they're putting into kids' hands and into families' hands. And then last but not least, Brave Books is another one that looks really good. I actually don't own any Brave books, and I'd have to look up a link for you guys for them. However, I did flip through some of their books in the spring when I was at the Teach Them Diligently homeschool conference in Tennessee, and they looked really, really beautiful. Same thing, high moral values and standards, and aligning with our Christian faith. So I am going to link all of those different places to find books that I approve of, or I at least approve of for my kids. You get to decide what you approve of for yours. But I wanted to share my favorite places to get good books for kids of all ages. And I also wanted to share with you specifically the brand new book series from The Good and the Beautiful. So if you've read any of the books that I've shared about today, definitely let me know down in the description and let other moms know so that they can get some more feedback from other moms that have read them. If you have a place that you find books or a book series that you recommend, please drop that down in the comments below as well for me and all of the other moms that will view this video. Or if you found a place that you realize you can't trust, or a book series that you can't trust, help us out so that we don't make the same mistake. I also share from time to time books that we're using or places to get books over on my Instagram. So if you're not already following me over there, you can follow me there at rooted_homelife. I hope to see you soon in one of my next videos. And until next time, stay rooted.